Today we start and end the show in German for this episode 53 of the English Coach podcast, where I invite you to give yourself permission to dance with the language. It is May 28th, 2021 today, and as most of you perhaps already know, I am an English trainer and coach. Most of my learners are German, not just a few, so I do care and I do dare to do a little dance with their language too. You can hit that little forward button 2 times or so in your podcast player of choice and quickly skip ahead. Graduate of economics, professional ballroom dancer, seasoned martial artist, trainer and photo model from Moscow, our guest for today, the lovely and talented Elena Zander. Lena, es freut mich so sehr, dass du endlich wieder hier bist. Also das letzte Mal haben wir versucht und es hat nicht funktioniert. Und es freut mich so, dass dieses Mal, endlich mal, können wir das machen. Wie geht es dir?
Ja, danke erstmal für die Einladung. Ich freue mich auch, hier zu sein. Ja, mir geht's gut, danke schön.
Wie lange bist du heute gefahren?
Ach, das war für mich 1 Stunde oder ein bisschen mehr vielleicht, aber mit Regionalbahn geht's eigentlich ganz gut.
Also, ich freue mich auf jeden Fall und also meine Katze freut sich auch, ja. Und
ja, wir haben uns schon verstanden mit deiner Katze, glaube ich.
Ja, genau. Ja, also ja, aber Kittypuss, ich rede jetzt von Kittypuss, ja. Du hast die Kittypuss, die ganz weiß, also hast eine Glückskatze um die Ecke gesehen und sie freut sich auf jeden Fall, dich auch zu sehen. Okay, also nur um kurz anzufangen. Also, dieses Thema, was ich heute mit dir diskutieren möchte, es nennt sich Meeting in the Body. Und dieses Thema, sag mal so, kam zur Welt oder es war für mich interessant, weil oder aufgrund einer Episode 33 mit einer Frau namens Frau Weigelt, gute Freundin von mir. Sie hat das mal erwähnt, als wir über verschiedene Persönlichkeiten und sowas diskutiert haben. Und Meeting in the Body an sich, wenn man das erstmal sieht, vielleicht hat man verschiedene Gedanken oder sowas. Aber eigentlich, sie hat das als erstes angesprochen und ich glaube, sie kam wirklich von so einem Hintergrund, das mit Kampfsport zu tun hat. Ich fand es sehr interessant damals, weil das Gegenteil erleben wir jetzt in dieser Corona-Zeit, wobei Meeting in the Body heißt treffen, persönlich treffen und gerade in dieser Zeit genau das fehlt. Wir können kaum das machen heutzutage und genau deswegen, paradoxerweise, finde ich das jetzt gerade interessant, weil genau das können wir jetzt zur Zeit schätzen. So, Meeting in the Body. Was heißt das dann für dich?
Ja, für mich hat es natürlich vor allem mit Kontakt mit dem anderen zu tun. Ja, und zwar so, dass ich mich selber besser kennenlernen kann, indem ich Kontakt mit dem anderen habe. Und ob wir hier über Kampfkunst reden oder über Tanzen, für mich, ich erkenne mich durch diesen Kontakt mit dem anderen.
Okay. Wir haben das auch ein bisschen am Telefon diskutiert und ich glaube, also damals handelte es sich um eine gewisse Kennenlernen, jemand kennenlernen, ohne mit dieser Person zu sprechen oder sprechen zu müssen. Und gerade das fand ich sehr interessant damals. Ist
ja,
das richtig?
Das stimmt, ja, genau. Du hast einfach diese Pandemiesituation angesprochen und dann habe ich gleich daran gedacht, was kann das mit mir allein zu tun haben, ne? Weil wir sind jetzt alle auf gewisse Weise allein, ja, mit dieser Reduzierung vom Kontakt, ja, aber natürlich durch diesen Kontakt, was ich mit dem anderen habe, da habe ich gleich schon so viel Information über ihn, ne? Das ist, wie gesagt, das ist unabhängig, welche Art das ist. Ja, es ist vielleicht einfach eine Berührung im Leben, ja, oder Kontakt in Kampfkunst oder im Tanzen, wie gesagt. Das ist allein schon durch diese kleine Berührung habe ich so viel Information. Ich weiß ja nicht, wollen wir jetzt weiter darüber reden, wie viel und was genau?
Ich würde auf jeden Fall, also später fragen, aber wir wollen erstmal so ein bisschen auf Deutsch plaudern hier, weil wir diskutieren jetzt, was jetzt gerade fehlt. Und deswegen fand ich das so interessant damals, weil wir alle machen dann diese Online-Training, Online-Coaching, Online-Arbeiten, alles remote und sowas. Und da fehlt diese gewisse mitmenschliche. Langsam können wir damit wieder anfangen, aber ja, ich finde es immer noch interessant und ich glaube, also andere Leute finden das auch interessant.
Ich glaube, wir werden auf jeden Fall andere Wertschätzung vom Kontakt haben, nachdem wir das endlich mal dürfen.
Ja.
Ja, und vielleicht dann wirklich mehr...
Nochmal dürfen, meinst du?
Ja.
Wieder.
Wieder.
Okay.
So bewusst damit umgehen und vielleicht dann mehr Sensitivität zu diesem Kontakt entwickeln können, so dass wir dann als eine zusätzliche Quelle von Information dann wahrnehmen und viel mehr voneinander oder einander gleich verstehen können durch die Art, die wir uns berühren.
Dankeschön, das ist sehr schön ausgedrückt und ich glaube, das war eine schöne Einleitung für unsere deutsche Zuhörer, aber ja, da es jetzt heißt English Coach Podcast, jetzt werden wir weiter in Englisch machen. Okay, so Lena oder Jelena, can you say how your mother says it again? How does your mother say your name?
My mother says just Lena and my father says Alona.
Alona. All right.
And actually he wanted the name Alona for me.
Yeah.
But then they said, oh, okay, it's the same, Lena or Alona. You can say just how you like. And in the documents, we write Elena.
Elena. Well, you know, the thing is, I always ask that. I like to ask that, especially in multilingual situations. You know, I'm speaking English here, although I'm from Jamaica and living in Germany. I can also speak a little German. As far as I understand, you are Russian.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
From Moscow.
You're from Moscow. Yes. And you're living in Germany, speaking German with me, and you also speak English. But it is said that the name of a person is the most beautiful sound ever. So that is why I like to ask people, how do their parents say or pronounce their names? And that's why I ask. It's not that I'm pushing you to do something. I hope I'm not pushing you to do something that you don't want to do. Yeah? But you like, what do you like? You like Lena?
Yeah.
You. All right. Well, I'm going to call you Lena. All right. So, Lena, meeting in the body. This theme we have already introduced. Would you be kind enough to just tell the listeners, tell me what exactly this means to you?
For me, meeting in the body is like recognizing yourself at first. Yes, because through the contact with the other person, you can also learn very much about yourself, but also about the other person. And you can feel your tensions, your state, your relaxation, and the same also of your opponent or of your partner. And it doesn't mean, it doesn't matter if we do this in martial arts or in dancing or maybe in a normal life by touching our child or husband or wife. There is a lot of information in this touching.
What kind of information? Because, you know, you're telling me, I'm thinking about dance, I'm thinking about things like massage, I'm thinking about also meeting and hugging people and things like that. And other things, of course. But tell me, what kind of information you get?
At least the mood of the other one. And you feel what emotions he or she wants to give you. Yeah, if it's warmness or excitement or just saying thank you that you are near him or her. And of course, if we have some more movement, like in dancing or in martial arts, there is a lot about information about your body, also the mood and so on, but much more information about the tensions in your body, if you are relaxed or not, how able you are to coordinate different things during this movement. And also you feel in this manner of the dance, for example, if your partner takes care about you. Sometimes there are partners that just want to show themselves, and they take you strong and just do their things and maybe want to show you a couple cool movements, and for them it's not interesting how do you feel in this moment. And with other partners, for example, and usually the better level, the better dance and the better feeling, you feel that it's important for him, that it's comfortable for me that I stay on the correct leg, that I'm in balance, that I feel softness and enjoy the dance, and also that I have my own freedom. Yes, and with some partners, especially with the beginners, it's very funny to notice that they are, of course, they have not this level of...
It's empathy?
At first you have to have some technical level, to be able then to grow through it and then to pay attention to other details with empathy, because at first you are busy with the techniques and you think, okay, if my step is correct or not, and you are so concentrated that you are automatically stiff, and you have no capability to think about your partner in this moment. Yes, and if you feel already free, and you don't think about the steps and the music, and you're like in flow, then you can pay attention to your partner, and okay, she could want to have some more freedom in this moment, or maybe she wants to accentuate this music here, and then such a partner is also able to adjust to the other one. Yes, also if one partner lead and the other don't, still they can interact and like play with each other. It's not that only my rules and you only follow.
Very nicely said. All right, I really like that. I really like that comparison, Lena, and you spoke quite a lot there. It was very interesting. You stimulated me with this kind of dialogue. We spoke about empathy there for a second. Empathy is the correct word if you're talking more about feelings. You could also say receptiveness to physical stimuli. Yes, that doesn't have to be having to do with feeling, but more being generally sensitive to how your partner moves. I can definitely relate to that, especially with tango. I can relate to the fact that, well, the first time I did a tango lesson, the teacher said to me, well, the woman is the picture and I am the frame, and I should just be the frame and let her be, let her beauty be. And it was fine. I didn't have a problem with that. And I've also experienced, well, what you described as the less experienced male dancer, of course, that's the example you can speak of right now, who is not so concerned about allowing the woman, his partner, the space to unfold or to blossom on the dance floor. He's more interested in showing himself and not so much interested in giving the woman space. That's how I understood what you said. Again, what I'm pulling from all of that and this whole meeting in the body aspect is that, well, I'm not going to say a soundbite because it's much more than a soundbite, but something that I've been saying a lot these days is that learning is relational. There has to be a kind of what we say in German, miteinander, Austausch. There has to be a give and take. There has to be asking questions. There has to be feedback and working with feedback and this constant exchange that happens that is also part of the learning process. And what you're saying to me now is that meeting in the body, as you've described it, through dancing, through massage, maybe through just simply touching people, it is exactly this kind of exchange that happens, and it's exactly this kind of exchange that I would probably want to allow learning to happen. Is that correct?
Yes, I like this comparison very much. It's exactly if you imagine a stiff dancer who is only busy with this showing himself, it's like a student just talking a monologue and not listening to the opponent. Yes, and on this way you cannot interact effectively with each other and you have no fun.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
yes.
In the dance it's the same. I'm relaxed, I'm listening to my partner and I'm paying attention to what he wants, what he wants to say. Maybe I can help in some way to him, and yeah, I think in the teaching it's the same.
Yes,
it's not only the also not only the task to give some information about the language, maybe, yes, and also when I teach martial arts, but also to see what my student understood, how he deal with this. Can I give him another support or help? And it's also interaction. Mm-hmm. And I have to listen to him and not just to give information and that's it.
Yes. It's an exchange. It's a give and take. It's funny with the whole idea of Darwinism and evolution. A lot of people, at some point I even used to say myself, survival of the fittest. But it's really about this survival of who managed to work together with each other. The species that find a kind of a symbiosis, for example, which is a Zusammenarbeit, these are the species that will continue. But what I find here even more interesting with this whole exchange about what you said something about body language, or actually I thought body language. Now, this communicating with the body through touch, is that part of body language as well? Because body language to me looks like something you see, but now we're talking about something you feel. Is there a difference, or have you thought of that before?
What we feel with each other, I don't know if it's body language, because
Think of it this way. If a language is spoken, a language is what says something, and it communicates something. You receive something, right? So the body language is how the body reacts, how the body expresses, I think, what you're feeling inside, what you're really going through.
We can give just a new meaning to these words now here.
Could be
because I also said just what I thought about at the moment you said it.
Yeah.
And this body language, okay, you imagine somebody gesticulating and helping with his hands to explain what he wants to say. Mm-hmm. But if we look closer to the words body and language, mm-hmm. It's like interacting of the bodies like they are talking to each other.
Exactly. So there is definitely a parallel. It's just that I might be looking and you might be touching. You're allowed to touch. I'm not. Okay, all right, fine. Well, that was a little funny. All right, fine. We don't have to go into that because it's not about body language today. That's probably a whole new topic. However, you are a martial arts teacher. Tell us a little about that.
So the martial art I teach is called Systema. It's a common name for Russian martial arts, and the most important thing I have to say about it, it's maybe that there are no techniques and it's a free martial arts based on principle and first of all on relaxation of your own body.
Interesting. You said two key things there that might raise some questions in the minds of people. The first thing you said, martial arts based on relaxation, which is a little counterintuitive. And you also said there's no technique, which is also counterintuitive. Explain to us, what do you mean by that?
About techniques, you can imagine in most of the martial arts that there are some drills or some combinations, and you just repeat the same combinations for 1,000 times, and then it's okay. And so you learn new drills and you train them. Some of them you can do alone, some of them with a partner, but it's more or less the same every time. And in Russian martial art, there are no techniques. That means that everything is free. Of course, there are some basic movements on which you can notice the principles you learn, but actually there are no techniques. Every punch can be free and your reaction is also free. And I think because of that you have another way of thinking, because you don't think, okay, I can solve this situation only with variant 1, 2, and 3, but you are free. It's overwhelming at first, but after you understand the principles of movements, it's give you much more variants, options, how you can act.
I understand. I'm going to come back to the relaxation aspect, because you did say that you have to try to be relaxed. Can you explain that to me?
Yes, relaxed. That means we have very many tensions in our body we don't notice usually in normal life or while doing some special movements. And these tensions, unneeded tensions, they, for example, don't allow us to achieve the speed we want to achieve or to move in a way we could move. And if you take all these tensions away, you come to a natural, optimized, shorter movement, and you come to solutions you couldn't imagine before.
I truly hope you're enjoying the show today and learning something of value. My usual relaxed, accessible, human approach to your learning experience offers you immersion into the language, real people, real themes, and real personalities, with a small win, always a good place to begin. As a trainer, creator, and coach, I want to also invite you, categorically, if you like what you hear, share the show with a friend from anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you like it a lot, keep it all to yourself and sign up to join my private listeners group at listener.englishcoachpodcast.com. You can also follow the show from anywhere you listen to podcasts. Naturally, you can also access my own personal training and coaching offers at www.trainingtree.de/podcast. Click contact to register your interest and pre-qualify for a free consultancy. So then, without further ado, on with the show. Okay, Lena, it is so fantastic that you're here today, and we have spoken just a little, because I'm sure there's so much more about our theme, meeting in the body. Now, the topic was very interesting to me the first time I heard about it, and coincidentally, you also had some knowledge on this idea. Today, we've spoken about mostly martial arts. We've also spoken about a little bit of dancing, which I find quite interesting, and going a little deeper into the martial arts aspect of how you approach the theme for the day, meeting in the body. We spoke about meditation, we spoke about relaxation, using, or let's say, stepping away from technique to practice martial arts, which is a little bit counterintuitive to me. We spoke about so many things that are in connection with the idea of meeting in the body, getting to know someone, understanding how the body actually speaks without words, something that you do with martial arts. Now, that is very exciting to me, not just to talk about, but it actually sounds like it's something that I would try out for myself, especially since you said you don't have to be the youngest to start. Now, just in case anybody out there is listening, any of our listeners here in Germany, in Berlin even, is interested in probably checking it out, how can we find you and your school? What's the best way?
The best way, just contact us through our website. This is systema-berlin.de, or visit us on Instagram and YouTube channel. On Instagram, this is kampfkunst.falco.zander, and the same at YouTube, Kampfkunst Falco Zander.
Okay, fantastic. So now everybody knows where to find you online. Again, I'll be putting the links in the show notes, the links for the website, for the Instagram, and for the YouTube. However, I think in our first talk, you mentioned something about a newsletter. Do we have to sign up for that somehow? Or what's that about?
Yes, we also have a newsletter because we offer now free lectures. So because you need also some theoretical part, when you don't have any possibility to train in the gym, we want to support you by some mental training. And so we have these free lectures twice a month with the themes of mindset, of warrior way, of some psychological stuff, everything that helps you to deal with this stress you anyway have in these pandemic times. And so our newsletter, you put it also in the show notes, yes?
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yes, and then you can subscribe and get the information about these free lectures and take part there. And also we have health training twice a week, where we do some meditation, some breathing exercises, and we also have health training twice a week, where we have general body exercises, meditation, and regeneration. This is a very important part of the whole training, where we do breathing exercises, and you can see how you can influence the state of your body just with breathing. This is very, very important also for further training in the gym. And so if you want to do something for your mental health and for your body, just get in contact with us.
Okay, that's fantastic. All of this stuff will be in the show notes anyway. And, when I say in the show notes, it means it's going to be on my website. You can just check the links yourself, direct links to all of these websites, also including the Instagram site. You can definitely find them as well in the show notes. Yes. I understand what you mean. I mean, I am totally for it. I wouldn't attempt to challenge you because, you are a martial arts fighter. So I will not disagree with you in any way in this little room. But I do agree with you though, because there were two instances. Sometimes I teach English to engineers, and I had 2 trick questions for them once. Once I said, which house is more fire resistant, a wooden house or a steel house? And then they couldn't come up with the answer. And I said, a wooden house is more fire resistant because the size of the wood that you need to support a house is much bigger. The cross section is much bigger than the cross section of the metal columns you would need. So in a fire, the metal house would lose its structural integrity much quicker than a wooden house because it takes a long time for the fire to burn into the core of the wood and so on. And they didn't find that funny at all. And then we were talking also about strength. Whereas, for example, I did something called quantity surveying, which had to do with building engineering. And if you build a column or a beam, something, you build a house with concrete and steel, concrete has compressive strength, which means it's very strong if you try to squeeze it together, and steel has good tensile strength, which means it's very strong if you try to stretch it. So we put the steel in the concrete so the columns or the house is actually flexible. So there is strength through flexibility and not through rigidity. And this is something that I can definitely relate to, right? It's the same wisdom coming back in different forms all the time. Not saying that you're saying more of the same. It just means that what you're saying is based on a common truth, that sometimes in life, strength is more in, the person who can relax a little bit sometimes, and also to step aside from the rigid technique, right? Step away from the structure and recognize that you have to, for example, adjust yourself to break a fall, which is something you said earlier, and not be so stiff and rigid. I could talk about that forever, because there are also, from my point of view, there are people who love rules, they love to have rules and they feel really safe when we do like grammar puzzles and they get 9 out of 10 and then they get 10 out of 10 and then they can't order a cheesecake when we go to the bakery, because the person selling the cheesecake asked a question that they didn't expect, right? So that is one example of how it is probably good. I'm talking again, and this is actually your stage today, but I'm agreeing with you here by saying that I can definitely relate to the idea of building a whole martial arts on relaxation and also permission to step away from the rigid technique. Yes?
Yes, this is a very important word you said, adjustment. Because also in dancing situation, if I follow, I have to adjust to my partner. And also in martial arts, I'm okay if I am the first who punch, okay, but if I get punched or we are already interacting in a fighting situation, then I have to adjust to the opponent and I can't insist what I want to do. Yes, because if he does something to me, it's my problem and I have to deal with it, and it's not a solution if I just stand and allow to break something to me.
Do you only fight with men? Only men punch you? I thought women punched you too.
Women are sometimes much more dangerous.
I know.
But anyway, what I wanted to say that you react. And this is the way how you have to react, not to do just something, but to adjust to the movement in a very precise way. And then you have a chance to come to a mastery movement, which is very small, maybe nearly invisible for the other one, and where you can then defeat your opponent. And if you just do something, so our martial art is very much about precision of the movement. Yes, this is not like he gives me one direction and approximately in this direction I continue to move, or I just do a step to the side. You have to learn to adjust your movement in a very certain way. And if you work it through, then you can really make your movement much shorter and to avoid the punches in a way that your opponent doesn't understand how you do it.
Understood. So this precision that you talk about is like, for example, if someone hits you with one movement, as I say movement A, then you have to find the perfect opposite to get away from that, or to relieve the impact of that punch, for example.
And here we are. It's not you have to find a movement. You have to feel the movement. Yes, it's difficult because you really don't have to think in this moment. And we train it very, very slowly in order to find out how you do it. You relax, and you feel very, very detailed, very, very certain, with as much relaxation as possible in your own body. What is this direction? Because if you just tense up one part of the body, you disturb the whole angle, the whole movement, and you are not able to feel it so precisely. And because of that, I said at the beginning that the basic of our martial arts is relaxation. Only if you are completely relaxed, you can find out how the movement is. What is the movement?
Understood.
And at first you maybe fall down, but afterwards you worked your whole body through. You know all the angles, and with this experience you act intuitively then, and also can do some steps because you already have this feeling and you can react to this correctly.
So if I understand you correctly, then you react intuitively to a punch that comes your way, for example, not by just moving one body part away from it or to get away from it, but to allow your whole body to respond to it. And this relaxation has to follow through, let's say, from the face all the way down through your shoulders, through your tummy, stomach area, legs, knees, and so on, to kind of help you to deflect that. You shouldn't have anything in your body blocking you then.
Yes, and because of that, the first movement you experience is falling. And this is also I think one of the most skills to fall down.
The most important skills?
Yeah, the most important skills, because it's also very psychological. People have fear to fall down. And if you are already on some level, then you can also avoid the hits in some way you like. But to learn how to do it, you need this falling down. You need this full way of the movement. You can imagine it like, for example, you are hit in slow motion and you're falling down in slow motion. This is the full way of the movement. And while training, you learn to keep balance even better. And afterwards, you already know the full movement, and you can move your other body parts in the right way to find another solution earlier. And then at the end, you don't need to fall down, but you can do the correct steps. And this is the difference. If you just do the steps you think are correct, at the beginning you will never do it well, and mostly like you will be hit.
So again, if I understand you correctly, it's first about getting over the fear of falling. And then when you have gotten over that fear of falling, then you can learn other ways to avoid falling, which can be stepping in a different way to shift your balance.
Yes, and this is the same. This is very important. This is the same thing. How you fall down and how you get out with a step. It's the same movement with the same beginning. And because of that, it's not a variety, okay, I can fall or I can do a step. It's the same movement. And I want to say a little bit more about falling down, that people have fear of it because they have fear, they get stiff, and even more fear, even more stiffness, and then you fall down like a stone. And if you learn all the joints in your body, how you can bend your joints, you can not just fall like a stone, but like to fold. You have another awareness of your body, and you can also fall from every position, doesn't matter. And this is also our difference to other martial arts, that there are some special techniques for falling down. Like you have to straighten one leg and then to
catch yourself with your hands.
Butt against the floor with your arm.
Yes.
We have nothing like this. In our martial art, you can fall from absolutely every position. And it doesn't matter. Because if you get hit, if you come in some dangerous situation, you cannot choose in which position you stand at first.
Yes,
wait, I have to prepare myself, and then now I can...
No, I can fall.
I can fall, yes. Or if the ground is not like in a gym, it's also very dangerous. With our method of falling down, you can fall down softly from absolutely every position. So you are uncomfortable, and you make it comfortable for you. And so falling down is uncomfortable for most people because they don't know how to do that. And if you learn how to do it properly and you pay attention to all the angles in your body, to the knee position, for example, to all the tensions you can get rid of, then you learn how to fall down softly and you get rid of the fear.
Thank you, Lena. That was nicely explained. You've answered the questions eloquently, I would say. You spoke about what you mean by, well, not so much focus on technique. You've explained what you mean by the more relaxed approach for this kind of Kampfsport or martial arts. Now, I have 2 questions for you. And these questions are, well, not really having to do with English learning or anything, but the first one is, how do you get the people to get over the fear? Yeah, that is the first question. The second question is, I'm thinking of older people. I know a good friend of mine, she works a lot with people who are retired, and one of the great fears is that they fall and they might break something. I'm thinking of older people, but who is this kind of martial arts for? 2 questions. How do you get over the fear? And who is this kind of sport for?
Very interesting question. Imagine I fall down in slow motion. Can it be real?
I heard that before. You also told me about the punch coming in slow motion, and I had to try not to laugh, but yeah.
Yes, of course, people need some support at first. And it's every time it's interesting for me to see that's really a more psychological problem than problem of the coordination. Our mind blocks us to relax our body. And so at first I take the hands of my student, really hard, because he needs this feeling of a good support. And okay, now relax your hips, bend your legs a little bit. Now relax your legs, and everything is slowly. And because he has to learn to give me the control about the movement. Usually we think only me. And I don't want to give you any responsibility. I want to do everything myself. I can't rely on you. And here you can learn it. And at first, very slowly, step by step. And then he is already in half fall. Mm-hmm. And still I'm supporting him. And okay, you see now you relaxed your hips, relax your knees a little bit more. You see how you can move your legs there. You feel I have your weight in my arms. And now relax a little bit more, relax a little bit more. So I think the word relaxed, I say like 100 times in each lesson. But if I don't do it, it doesn't work. Yeah, relax, then you relax for next 5 centimeters of the movement. Then you are stiff again. Then I say relax again. You can continue next 5 centimeters. Yes, and so on. And because of that, okay, do it, continue, relax, relax, relax. And if you're already on the ground with some part, you're, okay, now I have a new support.
Mm-hmm.
And so in every training, you learn this movement even better, and after some time, you can do it without my support. Because before you just didn't know how to do it and you couldn't imagine it. I help you to see that this is possible, and then you get a new level of control of your body and can do it yourself.
Okay, so and this is about getting over the fear of falling. All right, well, you did answer the first question. The second question is, who is this sport for? Who is it for?
Also an interesting question, because usually people say, martial arts, that's only for young people. I'm already too old. Or I had injuries. Or some other reason. But young people usually want to prove themselves, and they want to show their strengths, and they want to resist. And this is what we don't need in our training. You have to give up your resistance, and in order to be able to feel the directions. If you resist, you lose your sensitivity automatically. And so this is no resistance mindset is very difficult for young people. And if you are not so young anymore, or if you had serious injuries, then you know, okay, I can't win with my strength. I have to become smarter, and I'm ready to accept this idea of being soft.
Understood. There's a concept once. The concept was, I'm not sure if it's the same, but it was the power in powerlessness. And I don't know if it feels as if that could be it, but I don't know, I have to research it somewhere, but I think I understand what you mean. It's like also accepting the situation, being flexible. Resisting is what would make you rigid. Resisting is what would make you then feel the need to prove yourself. You prove yourself by resisting against probably established powers or whatever. And again, if I understand you correctly, young people might not, or younger people who feel the pressure, through testosterone, whatever, through the what do you call it now? Exuberance of youth. Yes, they might need to prove themselves, but this Kampfsport, this martial arts, is something that doesn't really encourage that. It is a different approach.
Yes, and I also want to add that young people usually are not prepared to pay so much attention to details, because if you research in this direction, you research your body and the movement, you need enough time, and it's not like some kind of sport. Okay, this week I go to this kind of sport, and next week I do something else, and the next week some other kind. You have to accept this idea, and you have to work on it. You invest your whole attention, whole power of your attention in researching your movement, and this need much concentration and also some time.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life, yes.
Oh, okay. That sounds like quite an investment. Yes, you have to probably change who you are, because there are some people who need to resist against something at least once a day. Yes.
Yes, but the good news is that this alters your character in a good way. That you become able to listen to the other person, what he wants. Through this adjustment in every training to the input of your partner gives to you.
That's really interesting. I really like that, because it feels relational. The same kind of thing that I am also encouraging the thing that is missing now, especially now in Corona, is this human interaction. You don't get that so much in online spaces, right? And my challenge, the thing that I'm resisting against right now, is the challenge of creating spaces that allow for this kind of exchange, this kind of sharing, writing to each other, exchanging, learning from each other, working with feedback and so on. That is the kind of thing that I'm also trying to encourage with my little learning spaces that I'm trying to build. I get that with a few people, but there are some people who just they don't recognize yet that it's not necessarily always about reading a book of techniques, as you would probably describe it, but adapting to the different kinds of opponents that might come to you, right? The different approaches of attack that you might be faced with, the different kinds of ways that you might have to fall, right? Some people just don't get that. They want a formula and they think that's the formula that's going to serve them all the time. And this is just such rubbish,
Exactly. One other interesting thing I want to say also for this theme is these different techniques, like you said right now. For example, you have one technique for work with knife, other technique for work without any weapon, another technique for chain. Imagine now you have 3 opponents or more, and one attacks you with a knife, the other one without anything, the next one with a chain. And this is one after another. So maybe not on the same time, but one after other. And are you able to react after 10 movements?
I don't know. I always try to negotiate.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, but you need one technique that works for everything, that you don't think, now I have to do like this and now I have to do like this. You have only one muscle memory. And because of that, it's very important what your body learns, how it reacts to any situation. And because of that, there are people who say, I can withstand very, very heavy punches. That's good. But if somebody attacks you with a knife,
oh my God,
which you don't see,
yeah, exactly. What do you do? Well, you know what? That's a very good question, and I am sure that you can answer it. I don't want you to tell all your secrets on the show, yes? As our cherished listeners can always check out your websites and where they can find you. You're going to tell us anytime soon, whether it be websites or Instagram or wherever we can find you, and your school and your husband as well, who you help or who helps you in the school. But just as a nice little, we call it a segue coming into that. Learning all these things, learning how to use technique, to change technique, to adapt to technique, to understand our opponents or our challenges, the ones that are facing us at the moment, and giving ourselves the freedom to react in the best way to them. To learn all of that, to make progress with simple things like even meditation. We spoke about meditation earlier. You said to me that you need a partner, somebody who can help you to measure your progress, tell you how far you're going, to take you out of your comfort zone and push you forward. Every now and then you make a new comfort zone. There's someone who comes and says, okay, you have to move again and again. This is how you develop. Now, this kind of development is something that I'm sure a lot of people might find quite attractive, and they might be wondering, where can we find that school? Yes? How do I start?
Absolutely correct what you said right now, and I want to give an example. Imagine you are meditating in the woods or in the mountains with beautiful landscapes. You are enjoying looking at all this beauty. Then somebody comes to you and disturbs you. Hey, what are you doing here? can you help me? How can I get to the station or somewhere? And you say, just let me sit here. I'm relaxing. You disturb. Wait, I want my answer. What are you doing here? And so after 15 minutes of such a discussion, what is your state?
I'm very tense and I'm very annoyed.
Yes, and this is difficult to stay relaxed when the other one is disturbing and trying to bring you out of your comfort zone, we can say. And so the task is to stay relaxed. And this you can achieve with the contact in our training, for example. All the training is like meditation. You are researching the movement and you are concentrating on the body, but with some input from the other person. You are not alone. Because if you are alone, how can you measure your progress? Okay, today I feel a little bit more relaxed than yesterday. I'm not very sure, but I think so. But in the training with a partner, you really can measure it, because you see where is your balance, how easy you lose your balance, how you learn to adjust your body movement and keep balance longer, how stressed you are when somebody is hitting you, also in slow motion. And this is about the state. I think meditation is about your state. And so if you are relaxed in one moment, but you are easily tensed up, then your state is not stable, and this is not a good meditation. But if somebody disturbs you, and this doesn't disturb you, then it's already another level of your relaxation. Become comfortable in uncomfortable positions.
Yes. It's like when sometimes I say to people, we can agree to disagree. And they're sometimes very confused by that. Yes, that is very... But, all right. I asked you earlier how you help people to get over fears, right? Now, you use the word meditation quite a lot. What kind of meditation is that? Do you do visualization? Do you use music? What do you use to get into that meditative state?
You don't need any music or anything extra. You just concentrate on your body. You can, of course, do it alone. For example, we have health training, because you cannot train in the gym now, but you want still to do something. And of course you can meditate alone and to visualize the breathing through your body, for example, what we do in our health trainings. And this is also a very good help to relax your body and to get more feeling of your body. And for example, we also work much with relaxation and tension just by laying down, and you feel every centimeter of your body, how you can tense up one part and still relax all other parts. It's not as easy if you as it's heard. But it's also what you need in the training with a partner, that you have such a good control of your body that you have some tension in one part and relaxation in the other one. This is what you can do alone, and what you should do in the situation when you are not able to train with a partner. But when you have a partner, then it's better to train together with the contact, that we disturb each other, we give each other input, and we still can relax there in every situation. Every situation becomes comfortable, because I walk through all the angles of my body, I concentrate in the state of my body, and you are concentrating on yourself in order to get rid of all the tensions and to achieve this relaxation in your body. And through this relaxation, you can feel much more what your opponent or your partner really does. And so through this concentration and relaxation, you feel your environment much, much better. And for me, it is a meditative state.
So you have a partner there actively disturbing you, yes? And you're trying to relax, even though this partner is trying to disturb you.
Yes, because if I'm relaxed and he is tensed, I can overplay him if I move correctly. So it's not always about the punching. And also our training, it's martial arts, but usually if you say martial arts, people think about hitting, about some blue eyes and broken legs. It's not like this. We train slowly because you need to research your movement. We imitate this fast movement by doing it slowly. So this is still realistic. And the amount of information you get in a unit of time is much higher than you do it fast.
You know, I'm very curious to ask you, what are the origins of this sport? Because I'm thinking, of course, I'm thinking about geopolitics right now, but I'm not gonna go there. Right? I'm not gonna go there, but I wanna know where did this this kind of martial arts come from? What are the origins of it? Do you know? Or would you like to tell us? You must know.
The origins. You mean the really
Yes.
So our style comes from Colonel Alexander Solovyov from Russia. He lives in Siberia, and but Russian martial art is very, very old. And if you imagine some heavy fights of times before, which last for hours and days, you can imagine you have not enough force or power. And at some moment, you act with just your mass and not with the force. It's not this 2 minutes or 3 minutes you have to fight with the other person, but this is a warrior way. And because of this, the principles are based on body mass, on the movement, on the technique of movement, we can say, and relaxation, because after 5-6 hours of fighting, you have no force anyway.
Yes, I'm thinking geopolitics again.
Warte, Moment. Ich wusste nicht, was ich genau antworten soll.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, it's fine. I really appreciate that. It's just that most times when people learn about martial arts, they always ask about the history of it, where it came from, what part of the world, what kind of mentality encouraged the development of this martial arts direction. And people sometimes are very interested in that.
I think the origins of many martial arts could be similar, or are similar in some way. But through the time, people, sometimes students don't really understand the mastery of their teachers, and then they see only techniques, and they don't see the principle of the movement. Because if you look at the masters of Judo and Aikido who had really high level, then it looks everything a little bit similar. Yes, but then students have their own schools and like their own styles and introduce new rules and new techniques, and then it's only about techniques but not about the origin, the spirit of this martial art.
The spirit. Yeah, well, we don't want to forget that. And we also don't want to forget the idea of meeting in the body. I think you have done fantastically well with explaining the richness of meaning behind meeting in the body. And it's not, what some people might think immediately. It's much more than that. So I want to thank you for explaining. There's a probability that there might be more in terms of, what other people think this might mean. I really like how you connected the dance. I like how you talked about tango. I've had my own experience with tango, for example, which was very difficult. I never got to any level with it. Yes. I can do a little salsa. I can do a little rumba. I can do a little cha-cha. I can do a little jive. I can do a little, was noch kann ich machen? Bachata. I can also do that. But, yeah, I never got to a stage, The only time I was on a stage is when I was photographing dance from on the stage. So, that's the only thing. So I have the greatest respect for that, and I find it always so fascinating when I meet people who are into dance and also into martial arts. There are very many, as far as I know. I don't know why.
For me, that was very difficult in the beginning, because in the dance, you have a really clear structure of the body, and you have some tension from the beginning. And in martial arts, you have to give up at first this tension at all. And after some time, okay, you understand, there is this kind of tension, there is this kind of tension, but it's absolutely not the same like in the dancing. And so after, I don't know, years of training of Systema, I started to understand the similarities. And then I could dance better, because I had even more relaxation from this martial art, and even more feeling of my partner, that after already a couple steps, if I go dance somewhere, yes, just some parties as they were allowed, and I see in their faces, and I feel how unusual this feeling for them is, because it is so light, and at the same time they have control, and it's like I'm there and I'm not there. And then they say, "Oh, what you do? What else you do? And you're a professional dancer," and so many compliments. Yes, but what I wanted to say that after some years of experience in martial arts, I had more sensitivity in dancing, and I could adjust and have my own freedom. And have my own freedom even more.
Yes, well, freedom and freedom actually fit.
Yeah. And but in martial arts, it was a really hard time for me at the beginning, because the stiffness,
you brought over from dance, yes? The Spannung that you're supposed to have.
Yes, this axis.
Yes, this axis.
Actually, yes, you have this axis. In the martial arts, it's not always that you have this axis.
You want to be like water.
Yeah, like water.
Yeah.
In some moments, it's okay, and you have this strength and some structure. And in other moments, you have another kind of structure where some parts of this axis should be relaxed. And it was really difficult for me.
Yeah, I can understand. But it comes back to the same thing, and it's such a beautiful thing, because, as I said earlier, the same wisdom keeps coming back. And it's the same kind of thing, this search for contrast. I mean, what is life without contrast? What is life without light and dark, or black and white, or disagreements, agreeing to disagree, the strength in relaxation and giving yourself permission to step away from technique and forgetting the rules and all of that. It's the same thing, you have the Spannung in dance, but at the same time, you are fascinated by the lack of that in the martial arts that you practice. And it's not exactly the lack of that. It is like placing it in different positions at different times. It is adapting and just this search for contrast. I do it as a photographer as well. I want a picture that is full of contrast and full of detail and full of opposites, right? I don't want a white page, or I don't want a black page. I need variety. And it surprises me sometimes how I don't know if it's naturally or what is it in us that tries to force things into being so rigid and structured and straight-lined when nothing about life is, you know? That's one of the things I wonder about, and it's exactly these opposites, these differences, this creative tension that makes life so much more interesting, right? That's why I'm talking to you right now, you know? I mean, it's an English podcast, and what we're talking about meeting in the body and fighting and dancing, right? Because it's just interesting, and I don't want to, I don't want to be here, talking about grammar puzzles and vocabulary lists. I want to offer my people something living, something moving, something evolving, something interesting. And that is why you're here, and I'm really thankful that you're here. I'm feeling very inspired. Thank you again, Lena. But before we leave, yes, there was something special that we wanted to do. I wanted you, so we're all in a very difficult time now. We're in the middle of Corona. I hate to be able to, or let's say I hate to have to even call the name right now because it's kind of bores me, yes. But at this time, I just wanted to ask you if maybe you're thinking about your family, but maybe in Russia, maybe your family and friends in Russia, or maybe you have something a little bit motivational that you just want to say to all your friends and family who are going through a rough time right now. You are a trainer. You have students, you have friends who are suffering through lockdown. I know you got a new dog recently, so even you got the dog in Corona, right? During Corona, I think so.
Yeah, just in this couple months, as it was allowed to travel and to pick up the dog.
So you did not break the law to get your dog.
No.
Nice. It's a black German Shepherd, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I saw a photo on Instagram. You can also check that out on Instagram as well. There will be a link for sure. Beautiful dog. Yeah, so, you had to actually break in your dog, start training and everything with them during Corona. So you had your own challenges as well. Now, what I want to ask today is that you think about all these people who are probably going through, people close to you are probably going through challenges right now, who are probably feeling a little bit neglected, probably feeling just bored, probably feeling lonely or isolated even. And think about something motivational that you might want to say to them, something short in Russian.
Дорогие друзья, оставайтесь здоровыми и держитесь с верой в светлое будущее.
Oh my goodness, that sounds so fantastic. I have absolutely no idea what you said. Was hast du gesagt auf Deutsch nochmal?
Liebe Freunde, bleibt gesund und haltet durch mit Zuversicht. Oder mit Glaube an positive Zukunft oder sowas.
Okay, all right, fine. That was a little bit too much for me. You said it, but I'm going to try to put this together in a nice way, whereas I also try to say something like that in Jamaican. Oder vielleicht auch nicht.
Ich dachte, du sagst es gleich jetzt.
Okay, liebe Lena, das war so toll, dass du hier warst. Ich finde das alles so spannend, so interessant und ich bin mir ganz sicher, dass andere Leute auch fragen. Jetzt wollen wir ganz klar sagen, wo genau man euch finden kann und was ihr anbietet.
Ja, ihr könnt uns finden auf unserer Webseite systema-berlin.de. Wir haben auch ein YouTube-Channel und Instagram, Kampfkunst Falco Zander. Also auf Instagram, das ist kampfkunst.falco.zander. Und wir haben auch Newsletter, weil wir möchten gerne alle Leute unterstützen in dieser stressigen Zeit mit so Mentalhilfe, könnte man sagen, ja, weil wir bieten 2-mal im Monat kostenlose Vorlesungen mit den Themen von Mindset, von Weltanschauungen, Kriegerlehre, gewisse psychologische Aspekte, was sehr wichtig ist, um mit aktuellem Stress umzugehen und auch vielleicht sich Zeit nehmen, sich selber besser kennenlernen. Ja, und das ist kostenlose Vorlesungen, wie gesagt, den Link findet ihr dann in Shownotes. Und außerdem haben wir Gesundheitstraining 2-mal die Woche. Das ist jeweils 50 Minuten. Ich glaube, jeder kann sich 50 Minuten mal nehmen, um sich gesund zu halten und auch Körper und Geist zu trainieren. Ne? Weil in unserem Gesundheitstraining beschäftigen wir uns mit allgemeinen Körperfitness natürlich ein bisschen, aber auch sehr viel mit Regeneration, mit Atemübungen und diese Aspekte sind auch wichtig für weitere Training in der Halle. Ja, und deswegen, wenn ihr etwas für euren Geist, für euren Körper tun wollt, bitte nehmt gerne mit uns Kontakt auf.
Ausgezeichnet. Das werde ich sogar machen. Das war toll. Und nochmal bedanke ich mich bei dir, bedanke ich mich bei euch für diese wunderbare Teilnahme heute. Und ich freue mich jetzt auf unsere kleinen Fotoshooting.
Ich freue mich auch. Danke.